Welcome to another episode of Empower Apps. I'm your host, Leo Dion. I'm joined once again by Peter Witham of Compile Swift. Peter, thank you so much for coming on. I think this is appearance number 4, maybe. I don't know. So. I lost count. You're one of the regulars. You're one of the regulars on this program. So I appreciate you coming back on. For people who don't know you, I'll let you do your own intro.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I now have more appearances than there are spin-offs for Game of Thrones. I'm not sure, but I think I'm winning that fight. So yeah, Leo, thank you for having me back again. I'm Peter Witham. Compile Swift is what I'm known as for the most part in our development communities. Obviously, with a focus on Swift and all of that, development fun, and it's great to be back. And I think we've got a topic that is not only informative, but people should really pay attention to, because it's something people don't think about when it gets to the exciting season, right? Which is where we're at. Yeah.
So we do our yearly WWDC recording, and it came to me that, like, for a lot of especially newbie devs, like, how should they approach WWDC? Because there is a lot of stuff going on, and like it can be overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I've done this enough years now that I kind of know the pattern and know the do's and don'ts. And I figured, be good to cover that in an episode, but a month before WWDC actually happens. Before we begin, maybe you can kind of say, what do you think is the number one thing developers should take away when they get ready for WWDC?
I think the number one thing is pace yourself. Not everything has to be done the day the conference starts, or even the couple of days before it starts, regardless of whether you're watching it remotely or you're traveling it, you've got one of the golden tickets, or you're just traveling out to be close to the event, which fantastic if you are. But either way, pace yourself, right? Remember, it's a week-long conference, but it's really the week that starts off the next year for all of us, right? Doesn't have to be done the first day.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. They're all recorded, obviously, and they're much better quality, I would say, recorded than they used to be when they were live. And they're going to be around. The talks are going to be around for a while. Like, take your time with it, pace it. Depending on what kind of learner you are, you may want to just open up Xcode, which we'll get into a little bit later, and just heck at it. But I think it's a really good point to pace yourself, because these talks are going to be around for forever. Like, there's no reason to rush into it. What do you think are some things that devs should do to prepare for WWDC right now?
Yeah, so I can run through sort of what I do, and I think, like you said, like yourself, this is something that I've sort of adjusted and figured out a game plan for me over the years. A lot of it by trial and error, The number one is, wiping my production machine and downloading the first beta for Mac OS. Not the first thing to do. So the first thing I do is I say to myself, okay, right, I know I'm going to take notes. I know I'm going to watch a bunch of things. I know I'm going to forget a lot of the things that I watch. And that's okay, because like you say, it's going to be there for a long time. But I also back up. I use it as like a signpost to back up all of my machines, even though for me, rarely, if ever, do I install whatever we may get on that from the conference that first day. But I use it as a good excuse to just, back everything up, because you have that, it's like that midnight craving of, maybe I just will try this new thing, right? So backing up is number one. Taking notes, and I don't take exhaustive notes while I'm watching the sessions, so that I can enjoy them, because
Yeah, same
otherwise
here.
you end
You
up
want to
going
soak it
backwards and
in.
forwards.
You want to be able to just like take in the information first,
Yes.
and then go back and play it at
Yeah.
2 speed and
Yeah.
figure out what are the specific APIs you should really be looking into.
Right. Think of it as, in some ways, it's kind of like think of it as when you're, well, we used to, back in my day, we would wander around the video store, right? Before we picked what we were going to watch. Now we might, sort of scroll through the endless list on choose your streaming service. Treat it like that.
Yeah.
Make notes for yourself that says, oh, there's something on topic X, and I will go back and watch that, right? So come up with a viewing list for sure. But don't feel that there's that pressure to, okay, now I need to get into it, right?
Right.
If you are in a position like you and I are, for example, you're in a Slack group or, a good Slack group or Discord or some community, share it and have fun with that community while the event's going on, right? There is plenty
that's a really
of
good
solo
point.
time afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll post some links to some of the WWDC groups out there, like WWDC by Notes, and there's a ton of them. Apple actually links to a lot of them too. But what I was going to say was, what you want to do is like that. They usually post the schedule with like funny names that aren't like anything related to the topic, and then right after probably like State of the Union or the keynote, they'll like actually fill in the names. And I think that's a good opportunity. If you want to do anything to prepare, go through your developer app or whatever WWDC app you're using and clear out all your favorites. And then when the day comes, start like going, when the actual topics are announced, go through and mark like what you want. Like be very picky because there's going to be a lot, and pick like what are the talks you really, really want to cover. And for me, it like comes down to what you're interested in, what your current apps could use, or what feature that you think is going to be released that is going to be like something you can really build on top of. And I think those are the kind of the three things. And then I would also say one more thing. There's a lot of like, especially their design talks are really, really good. And if there's some business talks too that you can tap into, that gives you a good insight into what Apple is looking for and what they think is going to be a successful app. And, if anybody's going to know it, they're going to know it. So those kind of would be the 4 talks I would look into.
Yeah, I agree. And I think also sort of, almost subconsciously take note of patterns, because if there is some new APIs and you see, like, let's pick one, for example. Let's say that there was a lot of talks on location services. I'm just picking one.
Right.
That's usually a good sign that says, okay, you know what? If you want to maybe stand a better chance of getting featured in the store when this stuff comes out, this might be the thing to do, right? Because Apple will want to push whatever their agenda is for this year. For example, location services. Whatever the new hardware is this year, they're going to want to push that. Now, I'm not saying, if you make a to-do planning app, right? Don't go throwing in something that's completely useless in your app. But if there's a way to tie in what the trend seems to be that they're talking about, that might be a good plan as well. And you're only going to know that.
The good example would be WidgetKit from a couple of years ago. Was a great example of something that you could throw in.
Yep.
Last year we had live activities, which is both a good thing to put in your app, but also was a great indicator of where the iPhone 14 was headed with Dynamic Island. So like, those are the things that you want to look out for that I think is a great way to get yourself featured in the App Store and take advantage of whatever iPhone is going to be come out in September or October.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think,
so
how can you tell though the difference between something that they really talk about and push and something that quite frankly is kind of gimmicky? And what I mean by this is we all know the feature that Apple will really talk about a lot in June, and then everybody forgets it by like December. Like the thing that comes to my mind would be like MessageKit, like messaging apps. Like they kind of didn't go anywhere. What else? I'm trying to think what else.
Yeah.
There's a few of these things where it's just like they talked about it, and then it just didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. A classic, and this is not to pick on anybody, but, there are those previous years when things were live, and they would have third parties come in and do demos of something, and you knew while you were watching it, it's like, this is going nowhere. What is this about, right? And that kind of thing. And I think that you have to just sort of trust in your gut that says, this doesn't feel like the thing. Now, there are sometimes, too, I think, they show things that are too early. And, for example, AR and VR, great that they jumped on it, but I think, not that it wasn't ready, but it wasn't ready in the sense of there was nothing really, anyone had anything good to take advantage of it until recently, So something like that where it's like, okay, bookmark those videos, but put that on the B playlist, something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Well, until this year.
Like, there's... Well, yeah, I'm actually, like, side note, probably more skeptical that we're going to get anything in June, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think... Yeah, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, I got we've got a viewer/listener question that may come into play on that particular topic when we get there. So I'm going to edge my bets for now until I have to commit.
Okay. Yeah, I think we covered that pretty well. Let's talk. You talked a little bit about backups. How do you go about installing or trying out new OSs and new versions of Xcode and stuff without breaking your setup?
Yeah, so great question, because I had a plan that worked for me for years and then didn't. Not because it went wrong, but because it's just not really practical anymore. So I'll dive into how I'm going to try and do it this year, based on what didn't work last year. So normally what I would have done, let's take Mac OS, right? I would install it. First thing I would do, clone my internal drive to an external drive, make sure I can boot from it. That's my emergency, get me up and running fast system. Put it somewhere safe, don't touch it. Then I would take another external drive and try to, you remember when it used to be real easy to install an OS on an external drive and boot from it. Still one of the things I loved about Mac. And that's not as easy as it used to be. So it seems now that the opinion now is, and something that I might try this year, is to create, if you have the space, create another volume on your internal drive and put it on there. So that's probably the plan I'm doing this year for the Mac. When it comes to my iPhone, I don't install betas, period, because I just, remote working and full-time day job and that, I got to be contactable 24/7, and I don't have a spare device here that I could do that with for that particular purpose. Ironically, I do have lots of phones here. I think I got about 5 right now. But they all need to work, to test things, because they're radically different models. But I don't do anything with my, I guess you would call it production iPhone, everyday iPhone. Seems weird when we're talking about these phones to say, well, I've got my everyday carry phone, my test phone, and so on. But that's kind of the world we live in, right?
I have 5 phones. I get it. So that's the partition thing is pretty much what I've been doing to test out Mac OS. Hopefully there's not a reason for me to test out Mac OS 14, but we'll see. But what I'm more worried about, I think, for me is, as a watch developer, there's a lot of rumors that watchOS 10 is going to be big release,
radical,
and that means I have to install the beta on my phone and my watch, which is going to suck because those first betas can be really, really bad. If you really want to be safe, wait until the public beta. If you really, really want to be safe, then you put it on a different iPhone and watch. but we all know how difficult it is to put it on a separate watch. That's not very practical. But and also something to think about is probably putting him on a different Apple account. I don't do that, but it's probably what you should do, honestly, because you're updating your iCloud stuff as well as your software. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, good point.
But yeah, that's kind of the way I would do it. What are some resources that you've followed every year besides obviously going through Apple's website or going through their developer app or using Guy's Mac developer app, which I think is still around. I think the GitHub account is still there. So what are some other resources that you would recommend following just off the top of your head? And if we don't think of it now live while we're recording, we'll put them in the notes. So you can look at the links in there.
There's always going to be, thankfully internet people are always good at telling us, hey, you didn't mention this one, thank you internet people. Yeah. So a good one, and of course one I'm sure everybody knows, but it's always so good, so reliable, right? Paul Hudson's Hacking with Swift. He's usually really good and fast at getting out there to answer things like the questions that we as developers should really care about, right? What's the differences? What's the key things we need to know about? And also some extremely good examples, especially when it comes to...
Well, even... I like in the interim time, we get new, we just recently got Swift 5.8, and I'm like, I don't know what's new. And he has really good articles with each sub-release of Swift that happens in the interim. So yeah, I totally agree with Paul's stuff. Google agrees with me, so I know I agree. I agree that Paul's stuff is solid. So yeah,
there you go. Yeah, so there's that. Of course, there's a Slack that if you belong to a good Slack with lots of good folks, like the one that you and I belong to, a lot of good folks in there from many different backgrounds.
There's usually a WWDC Slack. There is the folks. Adrian's group, come on. Coffee hour? Not coffee hour. Happy hour. iOS happy hour. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, that's a really good group. And obviously all the other iOS developer Slack. Were there other resources? I don't want to cut you off because I just remembered something.
No. Yeah. No, there's
Apple,
those.
And Apple has the Slack too. Yeah. So join the Apple Slack during WWDC. Yes, they have a Slack.
I did not know. Okay.
Where you could do Q&A. They have exercises and events going on throughout the week. So definitely take advantage of that. That's where you actually get to talk to Apple developers on Slack and ask them questions. It's not like a regular Slack. It's like very rigid Q&A style. But I highly recommend taking advantage of that. I've been taking advantage of one-on-ones throughout the year, which I love that they do that now, where you can do one-on-ones with developers. Super helpful. And also take advantage of their office hours. Get if you have a burning question for an Apple dev, now is the time to start coming up with those questions and get those appointments. You can ask Apple developers. They're awesome. It's basically like using a DTS ticket almost. They're really helpful. They know what they're doing. Take advantage of that. And then what's the other? They have another event going on. So they have the Slack. Yeah, I think I did that. The Slack and the office hour Q&A. Both of those are really solid opportunities to actually have one-on-one time with Apple developers.
And the Apple developers, the ones that I've dealt with in the past, they are absolutely fantastic. They will, they'll listen to you and. Obviously, I guess it goes without saying, but I'll say it. Don't go asking them to reveal secrets. Not going to happen.
They might not even know. They may not
even know. I remember, it's funny. So slight side story there. I did a podcast recently with Joel Kian, and that may be a name some folks know, maybe not. But he was telling me a story about, he was at Apple and was working on the SDK for the original iPhone with the iPhone folks working next door, and they had no idea what they were working on. You know, they didn't know what it was for. So, you know, happens on both sides. But it was one of those where it's like, yeah, they didn't even know what it was, you know, so it happens.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So that, you know, I got to put that, I'm going to put that on my to-do list. I need to come up with things I want to ask Apple developer.
Yeah.
No, I was saying I need to come up with my to-do list for like coming up with questions for Apple devs.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I need to do that myself because like I have apps in the works and it's like I have questions. I have really good questions and they're super helpful. If they can't help you, they'll follow back with you. They'll email you back. So take advantage of that.
And you're absolutely right. Just to bring home the point that you made, which is, you know, this is the time of year. Not to say you don't get their attention the rest of the year, but this is when they are sort of laser focused on helping developers because, you know, they're also looking to craft the products for the next releases, right? When we're talking software. Yep. So they need everybody's feedback and questions as much as you need help from them. They need it from all of us to get a feel if they're heading in the right direction and what they should expose. Mm-hmm. For example, I don't know this as a fact, but I would imagine, you know, trying to decide what APIs become public. Well, if nobody's interested in one, they won't focus on it too much. You know, things like that.
Right.
So we should help them as much as they help us, for sure.
Yep. Agreed. What should we, I guess, two other things I wanted to cover, and then you kind of touched on this earlier.
Okay.
You talked about some stuff is not going to be ready for the 0.0 release.
Yep.
So that's something to keep in mind. It's not, and they'll take it out of the beta probably by July or August, and you'll know.
Yeah. It's
probably going to end up in 16 or 17.1 or whatever 0.1 that comes out in November, October with the next set of new hardware. And what was the other thing I was going to say? I don't know. What else did we not cover? Do you want to answer some of your questions?
I was going to say, I threw caution to the wind earlier and asked the internet people, and we have a Discord that we use for a lot of our live streams and stuff. And I put it out there and said, hey, any questions anybody wants? And I got a couple. And one of them is a topic that I guess we knew was going to come around. So let's start with the easy one. What apps are you planning on building for the headset? I don't know what they're talking about.
Nice.
So let's. I think it's too dangerous a topic to touch on. Will there be a headset at WWDC? But I think what they're saying is, if there was, what apps would you build for it? And actually, I think this is a really good question for you because I know with some of your watch apps, like some of your, you got HeartWitch and things like that. Is this if this hardware is a reality? Do you have plans or do you have ideas? Or maybe you don't want to share them.
I do actually. I do have an idea. I do have an idea on my bucket list. I don't know if I should reveal it on the show because someone could steal my idea. So, could you, if you don't want to steal my idea, skip ahead to whatever time code where I'm done talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is not an exciting idea, but it's an idea I've been thinking about. Around the Dion house, we have some barren walls where I want to I want to do some pictures, add pictures to the wall and stuff. And so I think what would be cool is an AR app, and I honestly it would work on the iPad fine. An AR app which would take stuff from your photo library and put it on the wall of your house so you could see what that picture would look like.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
You know, that
and
gives
then
me an idea.
Order. Dang it.
No, don't worry. You know what? I'm going to give you this idea for free.
Okay.
Because I don't think I've got the time to build it, and I'm sure you do.
Yeah. Well, I don't either. That's why it's on the bottom of my list.
But what about? Okay, so I want you I like that idea, especially as a
Okay.
photographer, right? If I can have an original Ansel Adams hanging on my wall virtually, I'll go with that. That's cool. It's
Yeah,
cheaper,
right.
so we'll go with that. But also, what about taking like the fridge shopping list idea, right? You have an AR version of the shopping list that you can write on the fridge, and it goes up to cloud for everybody. There's one. Someone can have that for free. Yeah, see?
Well, yeah, a to-do list app would probably be the first app I would do on the app because I don't know how to build a to-do list in ARKit, so I would probably end up doing that too. So yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Don't worry. I think, but if the headset does come out, after about the first week, there'll be 100 tutorials on making a virtual to-do list. That's tradition.
And probably
right?
$300 to file in feedback.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Right. Yeah. What other questions do you have?
Yeah. So that was the first question. So this next one, you and I have touched on before, but it's always worth talking about. What do you think of the one-day format versus either the historic in-person format or the pandemic all-virtual format? And
What is it? So those are three different ones.
Yeah, I think they're basically so the I guess if we would break it down, the old style, everything in person with live,
right.
The sort of the new mixed style of kind of this one day with and then virtual, and then the pandemic all virtual. And I know for me, and I know from our previous discussions, kind of for you as well, I love the mixed. I think it's great. I think it's important to have at least the one day where, all right, maybe you didn't get to the Apple ship, but some kind of in-person gathering, and then the virtual for the real technical stuff. Because I think, you and I were talking before the show, we've lost that in-person, connection in some ways, especially for folks lazy like me that have not been to a conference in person for a while. Guilty. So I actually think that the mixed is a good idea, because I think that just doing the virtual is great from a technical standpoint. It's kind of like doing your homework as a kid at school, right? It's great for that deep learning stuff, but the social aspect is super important as well.
Very important.
So,
yeah.
What do you think? I like the mixed, but how about you?
Well, I mean, I always wanted to attend WWDC in person. I think I was planning on attending in 2020 until the apocalypse happened. So, I never had that opportunity to really do it. I couldn't justify it before then, business wise. I think honestly, as far as ingesting stuff and taking in the tutorials and the talks, I think the way it is now is fantastic. I think it's kind of unrealistic to do a in-person conference with as big as Apple is now. I think 10 years ago, or even 10 or 20 years ago, that made a lot more sense to do WWDC in person. But now it's it's so massive. Apple's the biggest company in the world. I just couldn't imagine them doing a conference and justifying it with as big of a developer community as they have. I do think that, but you lose out on networking. You lose up on meeting up with actual Apple developers in person. And so I think they're just, luckily, folks like Josh in our previous episode are hosting conferences, and folks like Adam and the folks at Synesthesia who are doing Swift Heroes, they have conferences. We have Swift Toronto, and I think that's kind of filling in that void of networking opportunity. Obviously there's Zoom and Slack and Discord and stuff, and Twitter and Mastodon, but I do think the kind of in-person networking is something that you just can't miss out on, and it's unfortunate we don't have a way to do that now formally through Apple, but the other conferences are just kind of filling in that gap, I think.
And actually I like that. I think it feels more personable when it's third parties kind of saying, hey, let's do something, get together, right? Because anytime Apple's involved, and this isn't a criticism of Apple, but they're going to be Apple, right? And at the end of the day, that's a company. And so therefore, it's going to be it's going to be the way Apple does things, right?
They have a legal and a marketing department that have specific guidelines as far as what you can and can't do. So
exactly, and it's
not
going to be a
as
marketing
loosey-goosey
event.
as a small. Right.
Like for example, you would not go to an Apple-driven event and be hypercritical of Apple in some way unless you never wanted to go to that event again, right? Not to say that you shouldn't be critical. We should. But the freedom when it's a third-party driven thing to be realistic, I think, is the best way to put it, and to not let marketing and hype and everything else get in the way, and really look at things and say, what's the state of play for us really, right?
Yep.
So I like the third party approach as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about before we close out? Anything you want to mention that you're working on?
Yeah, sure. I'll mention something that I'm working on. I'm working on an app at the moment that I've been building. I'm doing this building in public, building and sharing with folks. And it's been very interesting. And one of the things that I've been doing that with on the live streams is building an app to help folks looking for work. And it's not complicated by design. It's not meant to be. It just enables you to put details in to track a job application and, manage all of those, because you know how it is. You apply to a bunch and then it's like, did I reply to that one? Did I set something up? And you can track it in there. So I've got a beta, test flight version of that at the moment that I'm getting feedback from people on. And we'll put a link in the show notes.
Can people sign up? Yeah, that'd be great.
Yep, that is exactly what I want for folks. And given the nature of the app, it was an excuse as well for me to do core data and CloudKit so that for the syncing mechanism.
Nice.
Yeah. So I do want folks to use it. It's not going to cost anything, because the whole point is it was kind of, the idea came about when lots of our friends, developers and that, were losing jobs, right? And not to say that it's over by a long shot, but putting it out there for free in the hope that, hey, if I help someone find a job, it was worth it. So
awesome.
We'll
have a link.
in the show.
Do you have a name? What's the name?
The name is not one of my first choices. So we should talk about this just briefly. It was one of those, I had a great name, went to put it in the store, and it's like, yeah, that exists. And you're like, didn't think about that. So it's the Job Finder Tracker, which is very descriptive.
Hey. Yes, Ariel Michelli from AppFigures would love that name because it's easy to search for. So that's great.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, it's not listed in there at the moment, but if you go over to my website, you go to peterwitham.com, it's there, and you can register to get on the test flight. I will more than happy to put people in there. All I ask is that if they use it and they find something, tell me about it. But that's what I got.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Peter, for coming on the show again. We'll have you on again in a month, hopefully, for our annual WWDC. Where can people find you online?
Yeah. And Leo, thank you. It's always a pleasure to come back and talk with you. And again, I should say right now, thank you, Apple, for again putting the conference on this year so that, Leo and I can come together. I think it's great that Apple does that for us.
For us, right. Yeah, I think that's like exactly what they're thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they say that they don't think about the little guys, but they do it for you and I every year, right?
What is it? Apple is number 1, consumers number 2, developers are number 3. I think we're like number 1.5. We're like in between Apple and the consumers on the priority list. Yeah.
We know that they're watching in the background, right? Hello, Apple. Yeah. So yeah, thanks, Apple. But yeah, you can find me 2 places. Like I say, Compile Swift is pretty much what I'm known for everywhere, compileswift.com and everything else. And then me personally, if you want to reach out to me, you can go to Peter Witham, just my name, peterwitham.com. and reach out to me there.
Cool. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. If you enjoy this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. You don't know how helpful that is. If you are listening to this, give us a review in whatever your favorite podcast player is. We'll be back in a couple of weeks to, I don't know, we'll talk about something. Maybe I'll talk about my Swift World Tour, which I'm currently on at the time of this release. So maybe I can give some insights from that. We'll see. Otherwise, thank you for joining us. Talk to you in a couple of weeks. Bye, everyone.